We are going to get started in just about 5 minutes. I want to thank everyone today for showing up. I look forward to going over Zapier and TransForm. All right, it is 1 o'clock and time to get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave McCormick. I'm VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be doing a presentation that I'm hoping that you will follow along with on your own computer and actually build out an integration together. So before we get started, I just want to check to make sure that my audio and video is coming through okay. So if someone could just let me know either in the chat window or in the questions box that you could see my screen and you can hear me. Excellent, looks like it's coming through. So let's get started. So today, as we go through this tutorial, if you are lucky enough to have two monitors, you might want to put this GoToWebinar session in one of the monitors and have a browser window open in another monitor. For the rest of us, we can either Command Tab or Alt Tab to switch from screen to screen. So to begin, I'd like you to go in a web browser to bit.ly, bit.ly/transform Zap. And that's with a capital Z or Z in Zap. So I've got that highlighted there on the screen. And when you're there, you should see something which says you have been invited to use TransForm on Zapier. So if I could just get confirmation that that you guys have made it there and the link works, that would be great. So, okay, great. So it looks like you made it. Superb. So now that you're on that page, what we're going to do, a lot of you don't have Zapier accounts, but if you do have a Zapier account, you can log in. But I'm going to assume that you don't, because a lot of us haven't played with it very often, in which case you're going to just click the sign up link. And when you get to the sign up link or the login link, it'll take you to here. And you're going to want to click sign up, and you'll want to sign up with your name, email. It says work email and password. It says work email. I happen to know a Gmail will work perfectly fine. Or if you want to use a Yahoo or whatever, I'm sure it'll work just as well. And when that's done, it will bring you to a page which says pick apps to explore workflow ideas. And I'm going to give you guys a minute to catch up to me. And when you're looking at the screen that I see, please let me know. Or if you're running into an issue, please let me know that as well. All right, excellent. Looks like people have caught up. By the way, there is a recording of this, and tomorrow I'm going to email all of you a link to that recording in case we get lost or something doesn't work out today. So now that we're here, what I've discovered is that I can't actually find, if you go here and you start to build an app, you won't actually find Alpha TransForm here yet. So what you need to do is actually go back to that link that I gave you before, that bit.ly/transform Zap, and click the accept invite and build a Zap. And when that's done, you should have a screen which says my first Zap with TransForm. So let me know who sees my first Zap with TransForm on their screen. Got it. Okay, superb. Fantastic. You guys are keeping up. I like that. So you can go ahead and say create this Zap. Click that button. Whoops. In the wrong place. Create this Zap, and it's going to start with a screen which says select transform trigger. Whoops, someone says they're having an error on the link. Let me just give you that link again. So bit.ly/transform Zap. It is case sensitive because we're using bit.ly here, so make sure that's the one that you're using. All right. So now that we've said we're going to select a transform trigger, we're going to click Save and Continue. Okay, got it, great. And now it's going to say select your transform account. So to do that, we're going to click on that Connect an Account button, and you're going to see a dialog box appear. It shows up in a different window for me anyway. And it's going to ask you for your transform API key. So to get that, we are going to go to, in another browser, transform.alphasoftware.com, and then you're going to go ahead and log in if you need to. And so the login is your charter membership login, the one that we have sent you when you got your charter membership. So if you don't have that, you're not going to get too far here. But it looks like someone here is missing that. We can get that back out to you later. So once you're here, you're going to go over to the Home tab once you've logged in. And you're going to go down to the section called Get API Key, which you'll see below Developer Options. And then you should see this Get API Key screen here appear. Does everyone see that? So if someone could just let me know. Yes, okay, great, excellent. You guys are keeping up, I like that. Now for the API, we only need to give read access to our transform account. So that's all we're going to do. To do that, we're going to click on where it says read data, and then we are going to click Get API Key. And the API key will show up in the window. This one is mine. No stealing it. Get your own. Actually, in the case of the person who's missing theirs, I may actually give you my API key for now. Let me message that to you. Okay, so now we've got the API key. We're going to go back to that window, and we're going to paste in that API key. And we'll hit yes, continue. And at this point, you should be at a screen that looks like this. It should say transform account type, and then it looks like a couple curly braces, result underscore type, a couple curly braces. Are you with me so far? All right, excellent. So the next thing we're going to do now is click Save and Continue. And here we're going to set up the transform form with Zapier. So to do that, from the drop-down box, you're going to select a form ID. Now, I'm making a big assumption that you have, in fact, created a transform form before. So I'm hoping that's the case. If you guys are regulars here, you've hopefully created one by now. If you don't, just watch the rest of the recording and then go back and build a form, and you can do that way. So here I've selected my equipment inspection form from the drop-down under Form ID. And I think that's the only thing, yeah, it was the only thing that I had to do here. I let the others, set the other two, the resolve media fields and inject form data to false. And then I just click continue, and it should bring me to a screen which asks me to make sure that have at least one form has been created and that the trigger matches the options below, and should basically look like this. And I'm going to click fetch and continue. And I should see something which says test successful. Are you guys seeing the test successful screen? Excellent, great. So we're going to click continue again. And here it says almost finished. So we've set up the trigger, but we haven't set up is the action. So we know that the trigger is when you enter in a form into TransForm, but we haven't told it what it's supposed to do when that trigger is triggered. So what we'll do is we will click on, I believe it's just the hyperlink there. Your Zap lacks a step. And when I'm sorry, what you're going to do is you're going to click the Add a Step button below here in the workflow. And that should take you to this screen where you're allowed to choose an action app. And we are going to choose email here. See where it says built-in apps? So for today's session, we're going to choose email. And when you click on email, it should say select email by Zapier action. There's a save and continue button. We'll click the save and continue button. And now we can fill out how we want that email to be displayed. So I would also like just to check to make sure everyone is still with me. Just want to make sure I'm not going too fast. So if you're with me, just say yes or see, we, yeah. Perfect, excellent. So then we're here, we need to enter in, there are some required fields here. So we're going to need to enter in an email address. I've used my own email address. You should use your email address. Then we need to give it a subject. I'm just calling it TransForm email. Oops, sorry about that. Calling it TransForm email, not very original. And then here in the body, this is interesting. If you click the little down arrow button here at the corner, it's going to pop up a list of fields. And these are fields that are in your TransForm form. So like mine had location as one of them and type as one of them, and some other things as well. And so want to just choose a couple of them. Choose a couple text fields is what I'd recommend doing it, or even just one text field. And with that in place, it's going to look a little bit like mine, where in green, it's telling you what fields have been selected. Now we're going to scroll down. There's a scroller here on the right. And we're going to scroll all the way down to the continue button. And we're going to click continue. And it's going to say send test outbound email to email by Zapier. Are people still with me? Yes, yeah, yo. Oh, yo, I like that one. Thanks. Yeah, great, awesome. All right, so we're going to now, if you scroll down to the bottom of that, we're going to say send test to email by Zapier. So you go ahead and click that. And that'll take you to this screen where it says your test was successful. Now, we only have one last thing to do. I think one last thing to do. And that is to turn on the Zap. So that was just a test, but right now the Zap that we've created, namely the take a submission into TransForm and email it to me, is shut off. But if you see in the top right corner, it says your Zap is, just click on that to toggle it from off to on. And then I think after that you click the finish button, but I may have gotten that wrong. But I think after that you do finish. And it should take you here. It should say, awesome, your Zap is working. So how many people made it to that part? Awesome, your Zap is working. Yes, good there, fantastic, wonderful. So if you now click onto the home button, you will find that lo and behold, you have created your first Zap, and you've done it in just 13 minutes, which is pretty good. I thought this was going to take longer. So I'm glad people caught up. Now, if you didn't get caught up, or if you got lost, I'm going to send you out the email. But at this point, what you have done for us is you've created in Zapier a bunch of people who are alpha-friendly people, but not alpha customers who are using Zapier. And this is what Zapier needs to do for us. So you've done actually a huge favor by setting this up. But with Zapier, what I'm going to encourage you to do later on is go and take a look at all of the programs that you can integrate with, because you'll come up with some, I think, really cool ideas as to what you think you might want to have happen. I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. I mean, the sky's the limit. You could post stuff into systems of record. You can send SMS messages. I'm fairly certain it does Internet of Things things. You can turn on and off lights based on something. I mean, you can go crazy with your imagination. And I'd like to see if people do come up with clever ideas for zaps, if they would share them. That would be kind of cool. So anyway, here's the email that I got as my test email. It just had my 2 fields. It was very badly formatted. And there it is. But I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that in that email action, which we'll move back up to here, it will let you create HTML. So you could, for example, if this was an invoice form and you were to build an invoice template in HTML, you could fill it out on your phone, but then have that invoice template be mailed to you or to a client at the end of it, for example. That's one real simple integration. And again, the only coding you'd be doing is HTML, which is not really coding. And that's it. So that is Zapier. I want to thank you all very much for going through this with me. And now we've got some time for questions. And I believe we also have Bob Moore on the line, who could probably answer questions in more detail. So actually, Bob, I'd actually like to make you the presenter, since it said that there are some things that you'd like to add. Let me go ahead and do that. Whoops. There you go, Bob. Make list. One moment while I call up Bob, make presenter. And Bob, you should now be the presenter. Might take a moment to connect to audio, but if you want to just say something, and just so if I can hear that you're there. I am not getting audio from Bob. In the meantime, let me go through your questions, and we'll do what we can here. Questions? Okay.
So, Dave, there was a great question early on that you may have missed when people were making their TransForm development keys. Somebody made one for all, and they wanted to know how to change it.
Just go back and create a new key. So you want to just delete that key out and go back. I think in Zap, I don't know how you change the API key in Zapier, but I assume that there's a way.
There is.
Cool. Actually, Sarah, if you could share your screen.
Yes, I can show you exactly where to change it.
Fantastic.
So you can see my screen?
I can see your screen.
All right, so in Zapier, you can go to your dashboard and locate connected accounts. And inside connected accounts, you can test your TransForm connection, you can reconnect it, you can disconnect it. 3 important things to know.
Excellent.
So this is where you would make that change with your API key.
Cool. We have Bob here. I'm going to unmute you again. Hello, Bob. I believe you're connected now.
Yeah, somehow I got completely, everything just went west. So
that's what happens during these things sometimes, yeah. So anything you'd like to add, I'd love to hear it, since you are the Zapier expert here at Alpha, and you're the person who spearheaded this whole thing.
I wanted to mention that, you had covered a trigger, and that trigger is, there's 2 things that ultimately were defined in Zapier. One's a trigger and one's an action. Okay, so trigger would happen, say, when a new form is filled out in TransForm, and that's what you just showed. So a new form was submitted, and then an email went out.
Right.
But the other thing you can do is an action. So let's say, for example, you had a spreadsheet. I could actually show this if.
Let me go ahead and make you the presenter, and then we can see your screen.
Okay.
Okay, you should see a dialog box on your screen.
So let's see. It says, so I have two screens, main screen and I guess screen 2. So let's see. Yeah.
Well,
So
no one
can you
gets
see?
that right the first. No one gets that right the first try, but you did. So good for you. Yeah, I can see your screen perfectly.
All right. So in this case, so I've got this vehicle maintenance
Google
spreadsheet.
Sheet.
Right? It's in Google Sheets.
Yeah.
And so I also have a TransForm form. Let me see if I can find that can accept this information. So I could fill out a row here on the spreadsheet, you know, the name and date, and then vehicle mileage and oil change, yes, no, oil filter change, air filter, and then additional work, right? So I can fill this out here, and when I save it, the Zap will fire and add this into TransForm. So in this case, we start out with the trigger being Google Sheets, and the action is now in TransForm. Okay, so it's sort of exactly the opposite of what you did. We're going to push data into TransForm.
So it keeps monitoring this sheet to see if something has changed.
Yeah, what it does is, if you have a free account, it checks like every 15 minutes, I think. And if you have a paid account, it'll check like every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do is Zapier does support webhooks, so we're going to implement that, and then it'll be even faster because then Zapier can be notified when something happens.
Sure.
It will just be faster, you know.
Yep.
Let me see if I can show you how I did that. So, yeah, here it is right here, this create work order. So, and it goes from Google Sheets to TransForm. Let's see if we go in and edit it. Yeah, you'll see. So in this case, this is the trigger, right? Using Google Sheets, using their Zap, if you will, or their stuff. And then we push it out through our action, which is now going to push that into TransForm. Okay.
Cool. Now up there in that new or updated spreadsheets column box to the left, it looks like there has something there called Edit Options. I wonder if you click on that, does it show you how you set that up originally? Down a couple, down like 3. Edit. Yeah, that one. Oh, okay.
Here so I have to specify my spreadsheet.
So you pulled the spreadsheet. Yeah.
I have to connect, obviously, to my account.
Sure.
And in this case, any changes I say to any column, that's your trigger. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then if we come in here to TransForm, this
template,
is going to here we have to actually map the this. So this is my form, right? So my work completed form.
Okay.
And in this case, I've got a map to the spreadsheet. You know, the fields and within TransForm.
Cool.
So that's what you do in here, and then you turn it on. You know.
Nice.
Thing you got to be careful of. I did this earlier. So I had let's go back to my dashboard. So I had this trigger on, so the spreadsheet TransForm, but I also had this on, which goes from TransForm to the spreadsheet.
I think I know where this is headed.
I kind of went into a little bit of a
did a loop there, did it?
Right.
Yep, I see it. Oh, that's funny. Cool. So that's really very useful. So like you can just fill out a spreadsheet, and then someone on their phone, when they open up the phone, could say, hey, I have these 3 new work orders because I typed them into Google Sheets, but it shows up in the TransForm app. And
I mean, what Zapier really is workflow. You know, it's integration of a whole bunch of different things. You know, if this happens, then do this, and then do this, and then do this, because you can have a whole bunch of steps of things going on. You know, You can push stuff out to an accounting package, or you could, and you can just sort of keep going and send an email and fill out a spreadsheet, whatever you want. So it's pretty powerful. You just got to play around with it a little bit and use your imagination in terms of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I found by just clicking on the integrations tab up at the top and just beginning to look through the number of vendors that have supplied things, it's extraordinary. Yeah. Cool. Great. Let's see. We have other questions here. Someone had asked about, I haven't come across this before, but I know it's been asked before, about using Integromat. Are you familiar with that? I think it's similar sort of workflow system when you were doing your research into Zapier. I don't know if you came across.
No, I didn't.
Had any opinion? Okay.
Nothing about it.
Someone here said they used it to connect to Dropbox, and it created a new folder. Very interesting. Someone else asked about.
I wanted to also say that where we are in this process is we've built this integration, and we're in the beta phase right now. So everybody that's using this is helping us to debug our Zapier integration. And Zapier is very careful about what they allow to come into there. Essentially, it's like a store. And before we go public, we have to go through this process of testing. So that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're asking everybody to do. And if you run into any issues or anything, you have to let us know.
Yep.
Give us the feedback.
TFservice.com is still the best email to reach anything TransForm related, and we have people monitoring that, and we'll get your questions answered.
Good.
Let me see if there are any other questions here. There aren't a lot. Someone asked where to find documentation. Just a reminder for documentation, if you log into transform.alphasoftware.com, the documentation link is up on the top right. And that's a full database-driven documentation system similar to the one that we have for Alpha Anywhere, and it's maintained by Sarah, our documentation wizard. Let's see if we've got any other questions here. I think that's it. Wonderful. So I'm going to send out a copy. I'm going to send out a link to today's recording to your email addresses. You should see that tomorrow. In the meantime, we'd love for you to keep playing around with Zapier and using it. And if you run into anything, just send an email over to tfservice@alphasoftware.com. So thank you very much. Very much appreciate everyone's help today doing this testing. And hope to see you next Tuesday at the next TransForm Tuesday. Take care and goodbye.